guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I had kind of like lost my mojo with filming YouTube videos, so I kind of put some feelers out there like what people might want to see, and one of the things came up was about my uni experience, and I feel like I had a really good uni experience, and one that I feel like would be beneficial to share with you guys, because I feel like I had a real journey at uni, and I've also been graduated now for 2 years, so I can also chat a bit about what life is like after graduating and how I found it. So I thought that would make a really cool video, so I am going to be chatting about that today. I have asked some questions, well, I have put a feeler out there on Instagram about if there is anything specific that people wanted to know about uni and life after uni, so I'm going to answer those and then add a few bits in as well. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please give me a like and subscribe because it would mean the world to me as a small YouTube account. I guess we'll just get straight into it really. So I decided that I wanted to go to university when I was doing my A-levels. It's kind of been something that I'd always kind of wanted to do, and also my parents wanted me to do, and it was something and an experience that I really wanted to have. So throughout my A-levels, started thinking about universities and courses that I wanted to apply for. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that currently I work as a speech and language therapy assistant, not a speech therapist, a therapy assistant, because I did not do a speech and language therapy course at university because I did not get the A-level grades to get onto those courses. I probably could have done, if I reset my A-levels, I probably could have got those grades and got on the course. But at that time, I wasn't dead set that I wanted to do speech and language therapy, and I also wasn't like that academic. Like, I was naturally smart, but not like the smartest. I had to work really, really hard to get those grades, and I didn't work hard enough during my A-levels. So then came the opportunity where I was like, I'm not going to get onto a speech therapy course. What can I do? Because I had no other plan. I didn't want to do sports science. And then I stumbled across this course at Portsmouth University, which was Human Communication Sciences, which was essentially speech and language therapy, but didn't register you to be a speech and language therapist. So yeah, I applied there and had an interview for that course, because I think any course where you're going to be working in as like a healthcare professional or something, they usually make you interview for those places just so they can check that the right kind of people are getting onto those courses. And I'm not sure if it was still at the time. My course was not funded. I had to fund that myself through student finance, but obviously a lot of speech and language therapy courses and physiotherapy courses and things like that were funded at a point in time. I'm not sure if that's stopped now. So yeah, that's how I ended up getting my place at Portsmouth University, studying Human Communication Sciences, and honestly I had no idea what to expect. That's how my university experience started, and packed up my bag September of 2015 and yeah, went off to university. So when I first went to university, I was excited but nervous to go. And then we got to Portsmouth and I got these halls and they were horrific. Now, they literally were like a female prison, and I remember my mum dropped me off and she was like, she cried and I was crying and it was awful. I had a room that was like, the bed was smaller than a single bed. It was tiny. We all had to share a bathroom between 6 of us. I was literally all girls, and bless the girls I lived with, they were lovely, but we just had nothing in common. So when I got there and when I got to uni, I was like, this is not the uni experience I imagined at all. I was like, this is horrific. And when you first get to uni, there's those like 2 weeks of where you've not got any classes, you've kind of just got freshers. And I was like, I don't know anyone. None of these girls in my halls want to go out. They're looking at me like I'm an alien because I'm from Essex and wear heels, and didn't realise that no one at uni wears bloody heels to go out anymore. And so I was like, this is awful. It's going to be a disaster. But I actually ended up making friends, really good friends, with the boys' flat opposite me. Typical Sophie. And I got on really, really well with them and ended up going out most of the time with them. So that's kind of how my uni experience started. And it also, I think, covers one of the questions that I got asked, was like, did I always want to go to uni and know what I wanted to be? Because I didn't know what I wanted to be. I had no idea where my uni experience was going to take me at that point in time. But obviously, because I wanted to do something around speech and language therapy, I kind of chose a course that was similar. to that. I think I'm going to start answering some of these questions now, just because it probably will flow better. So one of the questions is, did uni live up to your expectations? And I've got to say, yes, it did. I had a really great time at university. I feel like each year I went through a completely different kind of learning experience. Like first year was all about living away from home for the first time, getting to grips with living away from home, being responsible for myself. I actually went through a really big breakup that year as well, so it was all about how I came out of that and managed that and making friends and living away from home. And then second year was like the party year, so had all my friends, lived with all my best friends. Work hard, play hard, as you say, was my second year. And my third year of university, I knuckled down and I worked my ass off. Each year was like a really different experience. I made lifelong friends there. I grew up so much as a person and yeah, had a good time. So it definitely lived up to my expectations. And then that also kind of leads on to, did you find your people at uni or elsewhere later in life? A lot of my really good friends, close friends, I met at university, just because I feel like you go through like a journey with those people and you live together, you do pretty much everything together. Like you live together, go to the gym together, go shopping together, go on nights out 4 days a week together. So you do become incredibly close, and you're all going through this similar situation where it's very stressful. You know, you experience a lot of emotions and you all pull each other through that. So I met a lot of my best friends at university, and we do still stay in contact. We don't live close together, and this is kind of what a lot of my female friendships are like, because, and I actually think it's quite healthy in that I don't need to see them all the time, I don't need to talk to them all the time, but they will be there for me and I will be there for them if they desperately needed me. And when we all do meet up together, it's so lovely. I think just before Christmas, was it January? I don't know, I can't remember. One of our uni friends just moved to Australia to live with her boyfriend, and we all got together, like all of our girls from uni, and it was so nice, and it was like we'd never been apart. And yeah, my friends played a massive part in my uni experience, and it definitely would have not been the same experience had I not met those girls at uni. And I had some crazy memories from, you know, all of them. And actually a lot of them were the year above me, and most of them left in my third year, and I was so lost without them. But I made some new friends who were like in the year below me, and some of them are also my best friends now still as well. So yeah, I definitely found my people. This question is, should I be afraid of going to uni at 22? I personally say no. I mean, I'm 22 now, about to turn 23, and I wouldn't want to go back to uni, but purely because I've already done it. I can't imagine what that would feel like if you were 22 and you hadn't done that, but I literally don't think it makes a difference. You might be more mature than the people that you're at uni with, but unis are massive, and you will 100% find people that you fit in with and that enjoy doing the same things as you, and you won't be bothered about your age. Like, you might have to put yourself out there. Like when I went to uni, I put myself out there because the girls in my halls were lovely, but we had nothing in common, and there was only like 2 girls on my course that I clicked with originally at the beginning. So I was like, right, how am I going to make friends? So I actually joined a society, and that's where I met all of my friends. And I feel like age doesn't really matter in that circumstance. I think it's just a case of putting yourself out there, being confident, knowing what you're there to achieve, and probably you will have a bit more kind of direction in what you want to achieve while you're at university, and you will know that from like your first year. Whereas I think a lot of 18-year-olds, or I know from my experience, it took me like a year and a bit or 2 years to actually get going and understand what I was there for and what my goal of this university experience was. So yeah, no, don't be scared. Someone asked about like the social experience. Was it good, bad? How did I find it? How did I find making new friends and meeting people? So kind of what I touched on just a minute ago. I think the more you put yourself out there at university, the more you are kind of going to put yourself in the position where you can meet new friends. You've got to remember that in your first year, there's a lot of people that don't know anybody either. Everybody is in the same boat. Like, nobody has got friends, nobody knows who they are. So you're gonna have people that already in those first week make connections with people really, really quickly, especially if they're outgoing, because everyone's looking for someone to latch onto to create friendships. So I was very shy, and I'm actually quite shy, so I didn't find it easy to just go out and be like, do you want to be my friend? Or like, whatever. But I did put myself out there. I went to cheerleading tryouts, and my friend Brooke eventually kind of had her eye on me and kind of brought me into her circle and her group a little bit. So I was really lucky in that sense. But yeah, go out, talk to people. The more you put yourself out there, the easier it is for people to respond to that. Whereas if you're kind of just hoping and sitting there and thinking, oh, why doesn't I want to be my friend, but you're not actually putting yourself in those social situations, yeah, it's going to be quite hard. So I found the social experience really good. Like I said, each year was very different. First year was big fat mess. I got to know a lot of people, met a lot of people, met my best friends. Second year, like I said, big social year for me. We were out all the time. Our house was like the party house at uni, so everyone would come to our house for pre-drinks, everyone would end up back at our house afterwards. And then third year, not so much. Yeah, socially I had a really good time. And Portsmouth University, I just think it's really hard to explain, but it's such a lovely uni, and you kind of get to know everybody in that kind of social environment, and it's really tiny, and you'll go to the same clubs and same nights out and stuff. So for my uni anyway, it was really easy to get to know everybody. I'm not sure what other unis are like, but if you go to Portsmouth, it's yeah, great community, great vibes, love it. How did you keep up with uni work and studying? This is all about organisation. I know I mentioned in like my assumptions video, like I got organised at uni. Get yourself a planner, write your deadlines in early. Your tutors and stuff will usually give you when your assignments are going to be, and you can kind of plan those in your diary. And then when you know when those assignments are going to be due, you need to think, okay, when am I going to start this? How long do I need to write an essay? How long do I need to study for this exam? And allocate your time accordingly, because I know it might not feel like it, but you have a lot of free time at uni, like a lot of free time. So it's very, very possible for you to go out, do all the things you want to do, and then also study as well. Just organise your time. Get organised, get prioritised. And if there's one thing that I would suggest, which I didn't do, is make use of your tutors and the learning support early. Like, do that in your first year, because it's free help. They are there to help you. They are there to answer your questions. So that is a big tip. Go to your tutors, go to your learning support staff at the uni and rinse them for their information. So I'm going to move on to some of the more postgrad kind of questions that I've had, because I know it can be quite daunting leaving university, and then all those friendships that you've made, like how do you keep them? So I'm going to chat a bit about that now and answer some of your questions. One question was, how did I know what I wanted to do with my life post-uni? Like I said, a lot of my friends actually left in my third year of university, so I really knuckled down and spent less time going out partying, because I'd done enough of that in my first and second year. And I was president of my cheerleading society at uni, because what I started to realise at the end of my second year was this is a uni experience, and I need to not only take the social sides of it, I need to take everything I can get out of this experience. I want to be able to have. So I was like, what can I do that's going to be able to put something extra on my CV or something extra on my job application? And I thought that would running a society clearly would be a good idea. In hindsight, it was very stressful. People were very rude. I realised that some 18-year-olds are basically still used to having their mums and dads do absolutely everything for them, and they were trying to make me do that, and it was bloody hard. So yes, not the best thing I have ever done in my life. However, it did allow me to have some really, really good learning experiences, which I could then pop onto my CV. So when I was thinking about, okay, what am I going to do post-uni, I had all these things that I was thinking about that would translate into the working world, because leaving university, it's a very fixed bubble, and then you get thrown into this outside world. So I started to think of ways I could start using my uni experience but build that so it related into the working world. So when I first graduated, I came home, I chilled out for a while, and then I started looking into jobs. I ended up getting just a normal summer job as an SEN play worker for the summer. And if you would have asked me what I wanted to do post-uni, I would have told you, right, I'm going to go work as a speech therapy assistant for adults with dementia or in an adult unit, and working with children was never really in my plan. So I took this job and I thought, right, it's just going to give me some money for the summer, and I actually really enjoyed it, and it was very useful actually in me getting my NHS job, because they threw me completely in the deep end and it got me straight into that working environment. So my advice would be, if you're graduating, unless you are planning to go off and travel the world, don't have some time off, give yourself a couple months to enjoy yourself, enjoy your summer, and then start looking at jobs, even if it is just a temporary job linked potentially with what you wanted to do. So I didn't want to go and work in retail, although I ended up working in retail that summer as well because my friend asked me to, and I just thought I'd take it for the money. If you can try and find a role related to your degree, I would try and have a look at something like that, so then you've got some experience for when you start looking for an actual postgrad job. But then how did I know? So obviously I wanted to work with adults, and when I was interviewing, I had 2 interviews come up at the same time. I had one interview for an adult job in a hospital and one interview for the job that I have now, which was children with complex needs, and I missed out by 1 point on the adult job, and the people from the job I have now, called me up like the next day, and they were like, as soon as you walked out that room, we knew we wanted you. And I was like, well, I've got to take it. Clearly fate has told me something. So actually, I tell you what, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I had no idea where that was going to take me. The thing to take out of it is, you might feel a bit lost, you might feel like you don't know what direction your life is going in, but my advice would be to get started in anything. Get started in anything. Get yourself a job doing something. Give yourself a source of income so that you can start thinking, okay, where am I going to take this? Because that's how things went for me. I had no idea what was going to happen. I had no idea how long I was going to be there. But I knew I'd got my foot somewhere and started in the first real job I'd ever really had. I didn't know whether I was going to like it. I didn't know whether I was going to hate it. I don't think you really know those things until you do it. So my advice would be to just start. There's a couple questions like this, like, I'm about to graduate and I feel like I don't want to leave. Do I miss uni? Was I ready to leave? I was so ready to leave uni. I wanted to get out of there. I had had my experience, and for me, that chapter in my book was closed and it was over by January of my 3rd year. Like, I was ready to leave. Some people, I think, get fixed in that bubble so much, but you've got to remember, it's not the real world. Like, it's one chapter in our life. It's hard because you've built this whole life, especially if you have lived away from home and you've not come home that often. You have built this whole kind of life for yourself at uni, and then you graduate and then that life disappears, and that can be really hard. And I was lucky because I had my boyfriend at home, so I could come home a lot, and I started, you know, understanding life back at home. But it can be really hard because even I know, like, I don't know anyone still in my local area for the last 3 years because I left and I was gone for 3 years. So that is really scary, and it's hard to come home with where you've not got many friends. And I did really struggle, I think, for my first year of being back home with, like, not seeing my friends all the time and really feeling quite lonely. I think the ways to get over it is invest in you. Start picking up some hobbies. Start not just laying down at night watching Netflix and feeling sorry for yourself. Like, think, okay, what can I do to keep myself busy? Make effort with those friends, because if you are best friends, chances are, like mine, they won't live near you. So put effort in to go and see them maybe once a month, once every 2 months, and you've got something to look forward to. Like, go for a sleepover at theirs at the weekend and make the effort, because if you don't make the effort, those relationships might fizzle out. It depends what type of friendship you have. I was really lucky that all of my friends are really chilled and really laid back, and we're quite happy to see each other every now and then, and nothing changes. Obviously, your friendships might be different, so make sure you put some effort into those friendships, and also try and reconnect with some people back at home. It might be hard, but, you know, maybe reach out to friends you went to college with and go out for lunch or things like that. So try and, like, reintroduce yourself back into life at home quite slowly, and it will be hard, but you will find your way forwards. And you never know, you might find that you actually end up leaving again to go home. I mean, the other option is you stay at uni and you find a job there, but for me, I was ready to leave. I grew there, I learned from that experience, and I was ready to leave it behind. I think everybody's experience is completely different, and I think it's too hard to say it will be this way or this way, because you've got to learn and find that for yourself. The one thing I will say with university, and I think this also ties into a couple questions about how long did it take me to get a job and how did I figure out what I wanted to do, is that as it got closer to like the end of my second year, the start of my third year at university, I started to think of uni as actually why I was there. And I think this can depend on like what course you're on, because if you are on like a funded course or a physiotherapy, speech therapy, you know, those courses, you're kind of taken into a career anyway, so you'll know exactly what you're going to do. Whereas for courses like mine, like human communication sciences, sports sciences, psychology, those kind of degrees give you the freedom after your degree to kind of go into whatever you want. You can feel kind of a bit like a loose end. I really started thinking about how I was going to make myself stand out in job interviews, because it can be tough getting a job. The one way I thought I would do that is by making sure I got a first, and I know that is hard or unachievable, but you have to think about, you're paying a lot of money to go to university. It's not just a social experience. Hopefully you want to grow and learn a lot about yourself along the way, but ultimately we're there to get a degree, so you've got to put that work first at some point. Having the first, I did get a first, very just, I worked so hard and I just about got it, meant that getting interviews was so much easier for me. It's not everything, but it does give you a little bit of a head start. This is not me saying you have to get first to be able to get a job interview, because that's false. You can absolutely get a really good job interview, a really good job without those grades, but I found that I automatically got a job interview with those grades. I don't know if anybody else has found that. Also, a lot of my job, I had to have interviews, and they asked me a lot of scenario questions, and the experience that I had in the jobs that I did before going to those interviews really helped. And also just the experience of interviews. I think everyone gets a bit caught up on like, I need to get the first job that I interview for, but that job might not be right for you. So I think I had 3 interviews and I got my third job. So, well, 3 like speech therapy roles. Obviously I had a job interview for the SEN role, and each interview I went to, I learned something new. And at each interview I picked up something, and you can ask for feedback, so never be too discouraged if you get a no from an interview, because there's always something to learn from those experiences. Hope this video has cleared up some of your questions and a little bit of my uni experience. Maybe one day I'll do a story time video, because I have lots of stories from my time at university, but I hope you guys find it useful and helpful to hear about my experience, and good luck if you're going to university, and good luck if you're graduating, because in truthfulness, it's a start of a really wonderful journey, and there's still so much that you have to come. I really hope you guys liked it. Please give me a like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.